Guatemala is one of the most beautiful and culturally diverse countries in Central America. Unfortunately, it's also considered the 10th poorest in Latin America, with more than half its population living below the national poverty line. In a rural village in Guatemala lives an indigenous pastor with a burden to reach his own people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Like most pastors in Guatemala, he still has to work a secular job, so he works the land and makes textiles, earning an average monthly wage of only about $200 per month. Since his church building is nothing more than an unfinished adobe structure, he currently meets in homes. However, in spite of his efforts to teach his congregation, he still lacks a formal Bible education.
One of the things that really surprised me in Guatemala is that even if you go to one of the poorest, remotest villages, almost everyone has a TV and almost everyone has a DVD player. And one of the pastors that we met, very poor, has a DVD player, has a TV, and when I told him about our material, he got really excited, and that's what he was starting to show his congregation. So I think that if we can take what we're doing and we multiply our efforts with just one DVD, they can make copies of it. We give them away for free, and they make copies and they give them to their neighbors and they give them to other pastors. We can actually duplicate what we're doing so that our efforts have a ratio of like 1,000 to 1 for each one that we do. We know that we go to a village, we go to a specific country, we know they're going to be duplicated and they're going to be given to other people, to other pastors. And so that's really what I feel that his master service is all about, is that we want to do more than just go and preach in a particular place. We want to go ahead and see that, that our efforts are being duplicated.
La gente en Guatemala es muy amigable, es muy abierta y más que nada educada. La esposa de este pastor nos invitó a su casa y en ese momento cuando nosotros estuvimos juntos, nos presentamos, dijimos quiénes éramos, mi esposo se presentó, yo, y mi esposo comenzó a mencionarles lo que él hacía. Entonces el pastor se quedó muy impresionado y nos dijo, un momentito que quiero mostrarles algo, y fue y trajo algo que era una copia de la copia pirateada de Una vida llena de bendiciones, que básicamente él nos comentó que en Guatemala no puede encontrar este material, que es muy difícil encontrarlo y que solamente se lo puede ubicar en el mercado negro, podríamos decirlo. Así que él se sintió muy privilegiado de conocer a mi esposo, que hacía la voz de Pastor Robert Morris en español.
Richard is a Hispanic American that has lived in Latin America for many years, where he learned to read, write, and speak the Spanish language fluently. He also is a graduate of Christ for the Nations, a world-renowned Bible institute. While enrolled, he studied media, theology, and missions. Upon graduating, he worked in secular and Christian television for many years, until founding his Master's Service, a sole proprietorship created to help churches and ministries reach ethnic groups through the means of media. Katia is an Ecuadorian national that studied accounting and was a singer in a Christian music group. She has also worked in Christian media and for several nonprofit organizations. She met Richard while he was on a missions trip to Ecuador, and they both later married in the year 2000. Their desire is to use their gifts and talents for the glory of God and to fulfill their calling as missionaries to Latin America. They have 2 children, Esteban and William. After both experiencing firsthand the great need amongst the indigenous population for biblical instruction as well as much-needed social work, Richard and Katia have decided to take a step of faith by leaving the comforts and security of the U.S. and relocating to Guatemala, Central America. This strategy will allow them to continue producing Christian media as well as work with needy churches in Guatemala. Since voice replacement is a labor-intensive and costly endeavor requiring linguists, voice talent, and audio-video professionals, working from a third-world country will help reduce their costs. However, in order to make this service accessible to churches and other ministries, it would still have to be subsidized. That is why Richard and Katia would like you to prayerfully consider becoming faith media partners with them. Your prayers and financial contributions, no matter what size, will allow them to make an enormous difference in the lives of Latin Americans all over the world through the conversion of much-needed Christian media. Many video sermons and other media have already been translated by His Master's Service into the Spanish language and distributed free of charge in countries all over Latin America. As a result, many congregations, just like Pastor Gustavo's, now have the material to create a solid biblical foundation that can be used to train leaders and other pastors just like him. For more information on becoming a faith media partner or converting your church's programs or sermons into the Spanish language, please contact HMS at